Call this February 17th City Council meeting to order, and I'd like to call on invocation, Ward 3.
Yeah, would you bow with me? Let's pray. Father, we want to thank you for the promises that you give us of wisdom if we ask. You said you give it liberally, so we ask for wisdom that we might serve the citizens of Hopkinsville. And we ask, God, that you would put a hedge of protection around our first responders and military, especially around the world right now. We ask that you watch over those and keep them safe and help the decisions that we make tonight to please you and to serve the real desires of those who've called us to these offices. So we ask for that tonight. Let the words of our mouth, the meditation of our heart be acceptable in your sight, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please stand for the pledge if you can.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I call the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Smith.
Present.
Councilmember Stallings. Present. Councilmember Marsh.
Here.
Councilmember Crabtree.
Here.
Councilmember Craig. Here. Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Sumner. Here. Councilmember Meek. Here. Councilmember Bogard.
Present.
Councilmember Velez.
Here.
Councilmember Bell.
Here.
Councilmember Droud.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All righty. Item 5, awards and recognitions. We don't have any of them this evening, so we'll move into item 6, public comments. You have 5 minutes at the microphone. If you'd like to come and speak, state your name.
My name is Harvey McCraw. I'm here representing my 2 children. They live in the city, own homes, work jobs, and then they also have a part-time job. So just let you know that there's people out there that are still struggling. Something else I want to get straight. I heard on Facebook there was some mud slinging. I don't particularly like that. I'll sling some mud in politics, but I won't sling none personally. I don't know any of you personally except you, and I know Miss Stallings. And I think a lot of her. She's a fantastic mother, wife, and a daughter. And nobody needs to be slinging mud on her because she's not up to it. And she probably would make one of the best city council persons that Hopkinsville ever had if you give her a chance. She's a little young. She's got a lot to understand and a lot to learn. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. Years ago, I came in a restaurant, popular restaurant in town. Guy was running for city council. Somebody said, "What kind of city councilman you'll make?" He said, "The best money could buy." Now you figure that out. How does that go? It goes both ways. Some of you people is going to vote for yes. Maybe that needs to be your slogans. Because you come in here saying, "I'm the voice of the people." That don't happen. That ends after you get elected. On social media, there was 100 people that posted stuff. Probably 2 of them was yes. And they might have been family or friends. But I tell you, it gets ridiculous of the salaries that people make and people in here that in the Hopkinsville that live on $14,000 a year. And then y'all are asking for more on part-time jobs. And I guarantee you, half of it, you're probably writing it off. You probably write off your mileage too here. You write off that. And Merritt, you said you make $91,000.
Yes, sir, I do.
That's reasonable. But you get a $4,000 raise. But people don't know that you get a vehicle that's worth at least $12,000 a year. Somebody's paying taxes, insurance, and gas on that vehicle.
Sure they do.
So that's a big deal. I'm going to read a few things that was posted according to what other people are getting paid. In Louisville, 645,000 residents, 26 council members. It averages out $1.08. Lexington, 332,000, 15 council members. Cost per resident, $1.97. Hopkinsville, 30,600, maybe more. I don't know. Council members, 12. Right now, it averages $5.49 per resident, and you're asking to raise it to $9.80. Where are we coming from? I tell you, I don't know. I don't understand it. I got another little deal that's been on the back of my mind for several years. I built houses in Hopkinsville, a lot of them. Built the house for Dave Witt. He was quality control manager for Dana Corporation. Got to be good friends. And the CEO, Pat, I can't think of Pat's last name, had a meeting with him one time, and I said, so how do you like Hopkinsville? They kind of laughed. We love it. I said, really, why? And this can be checked out. I don't get up here and state something that ain't true. He said, we had a meeting with the city council. They wanted to know what our pay scale was going to be. And I don't remember exactly what the figures were. So we told them. So we were thinking about we could go a little higher. They said, well, let's talk about it. So they went in another room, talked about it. They come back and they said, not acceptable. I said, well, we'll go a little higher. I said, you don't understand that. You're too high. You need to lower your standard down because you're going to pull away from other factories. Well, let me tell you something. There ain't nobody that can't be replaced. All they would have been doing was opening jobs for other people. And I sure hope that's never happens again, but ain't no telling how many factories came in here that's happened. And that sure wasn't helping the city residents at all.
You got 30 seconds left, Harvey.
Somebody made the statement that more money would be better qualified people. Maybe we need some more qualified people, but I don't think the money's going to do it. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, sir. Microphone's open if anyone would like to come speak.
Good evening. My name is Rose Jackson. I am in Ward 11, 805 Rose Drive. I have some questions in regards to the raises. Now, I'm not against anybody getting a raise that deserves a raise, but on my job, I work for the state. There's no way that they're going to give me a 54 to 57% raise at one time. They do 2% increments. My question is, why isn't that happening here? I'm not above you guys getting raises. Everybody deserves a raise, but like I'm not sure, I didn't hear his name stated, the majority of of the people that live in Hopkinsville, they're living off minimum wage. And if they're making $10 an hour, y'all know, like I know, $10 an hour does not go anywhere with rent prices, groceries, light bill, water bill, gas, insurance. That goes nowhere. Now, I know that there are some good people on this city council. I know that we got some that are some duds. But at the same time, would you give your employee a 54 to 57% raise at one whop? Or would you make them do it in increments? I'm not saying that you guys don't deserve it. Well, some of y'all don't. But I'm not saying that a raise isn't, I'm just being honest. And the majority of y'all know, if you know me, y'all know it is what it is. But 54 to 57% and the numbers that he read off, I'm going to tell y'all this, on some days I don't have $10 in my pocket. And I'm just being honest. And I work for the state and I still, and own 2 businesses. And still on any given day may not have $10 in my pocket. So you want me to give you $10, I don't know if it equals out to a week or a month or whatever. I'm trying not to go off because the truth of the matter is the majority of the people, the majority of your constituents don't have the opportunities that you guys have. Their jobs are not going to give them 57, 54, 57, whatever it is. Thank you. Their jobs aren't going to give that. They're going to give I work for the state and you get a 2% raise if you are a HC, and HC means you go above and beyond your job. There's HC, PC, and EC. Some of you guys are HC council members, you go above and beyond. Some of you guys are PC council members, you do what we pay, you do what you get paid to do. Some of you guys are EC, and that means you don't do a damn thing. Excuse my language. You come, you sit in these seats and you earn a check. Some of your council constituents don't even know who you are. There is no reason why my inbox should be flooded. I'm not a council person. I wish I could run, but I can't because I work for the state. But there is no reason why some of you guys as council constituents are in my inbox asking, who is my council member? Now, if you want these people to give you this 57.14% raise, everybody in your district should know who you are. Shouldn't be, and I'm just gonna speak on my councilman, Jason Bell. People with that outside of his district know who he is. He pulls up without a shadow of a doubt. Now, again, I'm not against you guys getting a raise, but I'm against the 57.14, whatever the number is. 2% is the normal, is the max nationally. So why do we think that we can do a 57% in one whop? That's not fair. Not fair to your constituents. And I understand that everybody wants to be paid, but let's pay people what they're worth. And I'm just gonna be honest, 57.15% ain't none of y'all worth it.
Floor is open for comments.
Mayor, honorable council members. Well, come here tonight to once again ask for you to slow down and think about what you're doing. I heard that some of you folks had been threatened. That's wrong. And I hope whoever made those threats suffers consequences of that. But what y'all about to do is wrong too. It is just wrong to vote in a 57% raise. There's been, last time, it was suggested that you do it in a stair step. Okay, well, that's a little more of an easier pill to swallow. But even at 10% a year, that's going to be very aggressive. So I still don't think the citizens of Hopkinsville are going to even line up for 10%. You can try running something like that, but this right here, it is just plain wrong. And I used the word immoral last time, and I know that's a strong word, but part of that definition is doing things that are outside what is normally socially acceptable. And for a government body to vote themselves 57% raise, it's outside the bounds of what's normally socially acceptable. So yes, it is immoral to do that. And moral people do immoral stuff all the time. Let's just get that out of the way. But I don't think anybody in this room, council included, has ever had a 57% raise. Anybody in here had a raise? Anybody here want to give a 57% raise? Because everybody I've talked to is against this. I've heard that some are for it, regular folks. I hadn't talked to one, and I've talked to about 200 people. Not one of them is for it. So I'm going to ask you to slow down, reconsider, come back with something that the citizens of this town can swallow a little better. They might not like it, what you bring back, but this is kind of like a Bible verse. Reminds me of James 4:17. Him that knows to do right and doesn't do it, to him it's accounted for sin. And mark it down. This ain't right. Thank you.
Floor is open. Anyone would like to come speak?
Yes, sir. My name is Republican Chico Ware since Ronald Reagan. To my knowledge, in 1960, Mayor Lackey at the police station got a raise. Herb Hayes got a raise. L.C. Redding got a raise. Why they knocking you by a raise when the economy is bad? But everybody trying to make it out here. but I think y'all doing a marvelous job in our city. Things are high for me. I'm living, supposed to be living on top of the world, but I'm living cheap as I can because of the economy. But all these mayors have got raises. Why not y'all about raises? I don't.
Hi, my name is Kathy DeTravis, I share everybody else's sentiment here, but I've got coming at you at a different angle. As a small business owner, it's very difficult to accept you all to elect, to vote to have such a massive pay raise based on the reasoning that's been presented. Want to be like your counterparts, okay? But if we're going to do that, let's compare apples to apples, okay? City of Hopkinsville is 32 square miles. You have approximately 32,000 in population. Magistrates, they also cover the city. There's 72,000 people in this county approximately, and 724 square miles, and there's only 8 of them, okay? And I've looked at some other city councils, neighboring counties and their populations, square miles, what they get paid, as well as how many council members or commissioners, how their cities are set up. And I'll be honest, we're heavy. I'll give you an example. Murray has 12 city council people. They make $4,000, okay? Oak Grove, there's 8,000 people in Oak Grove. They have city council members. You know what they get paid? $2,500 a year, okay? So we can't compare city council to the county magistrates. That's not apples to apples, guys, okay? Now, if you're dead set on doing this raise, which is any small business owner will tell you is ludicrous. Nobody does this, okay? Then I highly recommend what we need to do is we need to redraw the wards. Cut this council down to 6 people, pay $22,000. You know what? We'd save $36,000 a year based on the budget for the city council now. Currently at $14,000, that's $168,000 a year for 12 people. You get down to 6 people, we're going to save $36,000. I could get behind that. Because let me ask you something, you want all this extra money, it may not seem like a lot. Well, yeah, it really is. How many hours do you really dedicate to being a city council person? Think about it, okay? And the city's facing, we've got many big expenditures we know we have coming up. Well, we need to run this like small businesses do. And when we face increases in cost in goods and services, we eliminate positions. And we increase our people that we manage to maintain, we increase their pay. And that's what we do. And in some cases, some of us, I know I have, I've gone without a paycheck to make sure that my staff was paid and taken care of. Honestly, I'd like to, if you really feel like you're worth $22,000 a year, I think you need to justify it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Microphone's open for the next.
Hello, my name is Marquita Wilkerson, Ward 1. I would like to just talk about, firstly, I want to come and talk to you about, the first thing is the Code of Ethics. And the City of Hopkinsville had a Code of Ethics ordinance, Chapter 36. The City of Hopkinsville Code of Ethics, it states that you must recuse yourself, well, you should recuse yourselves if you have personal financial interests exist. And I just want to say that if you think that you may potentially be elected, then you should think about recusing yourself for the public interest of your constituents. And as we know, and as we've heard, that some of you may or may not have talked to your constituents before making this decision, which that may or may not be a credibility issue. And as we know, and as you've heard here or talked to the different people in the community, that may be something that as a community you want to think about before going forward with this issue. And secondly, when last week you discussed the Robert's Rules of Order. There were some deliberations that you may or may not have went fairly through. So you may want to rewind the tape and relook at that, because that may have not been the best decision that you made. And when you adequately look at that, and that was a little confusing to some people. I got a lot of phone calls and they really were not able to read the tape and look at it. And as we were sitting there looking at it again, I don't think every last one of you really knew what you were voting on. You could maybe say you were, but by the looks of it and by the way it was read last week, I don't think that you really knew what you were voting on, and I don't think that you finished voting on it correctly. And the third thing that I want to discuss that raised, it's a fiscal responsibility that we have. I know in January, there was a city financial staff that reported that the key revenue streams, such as the payroll tax and business license tax collected, were down compared to 2024, which indicated a real financial pressure within a balanced budget structure. But the outlooks, even though we have a balanced budget, there are a lot of things on the table for next year. And I also heard that you said that this won't take a hit, but if you're taking a hit of 100,000, that has to come from somewhere. And you're not gonna pull it out of the hat. So it's gonna have to come from somewhere. And in addition to that, if you have cars, and if you also have a lot of other things coming, we don't know the unknowns. We just tore down a building, and how much extra did that cost? We're making a lot of decisions haphazardly. And last time I knew, we were for the people. And I don't think these decisions were made for our people in mind. And I'm not saying that you don't deserve a raise, but I am saying that there should be more accountability. And I know that you want to get this done before May, but I do believe we should have things like maybe citizen buy-in. We should have a public forum. And I know that this decision wasn't just made in January. It was thought about, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, and there weren't any public forums, there weren't any petitions going around, there wasn't any community feedback on the city page, there wasn't any of those things done, and those are things that should have probably been done to get the community involved, and that wasn't done. And 57%, that's a lot of chunk of change. $100,000, that's a lot of money to give someone. And that was not done. So I employ to you that those are things that you may want to consider ethically. One, because ethically, if you're saying that you want to give yourself a raise, I worked for city government for over 26 years. And if we would have told our bosses that we're demanding a 58% raise, I do believe we might have just been fired. So you might want to think about that. And procedurally, you might, Robert's Rules of Order, I don't think that was handled in the right way the last city council meeting. And physically, if we have a lot of things coming down the turnpike, you really want to consider what you're asking the community to, and their tax dollars to give you at this time. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bonnie Lynch. My focus has always been on voting. There are 6,202 folks in the city registered as independents or other that can participate in the primary election because of the current city ordinance. In order to increase voter participation, the city ordinance needs to be amended, eliminate the partisan local elections. There are 4 cities in the state under this partisan system that we are in. Wingo has council members and they receive $50 a meeting. Irvine City Council receives $604.80 a quarter. Do that math. Shively, they receive $1,102.48 a month, which equals about $13,229.76 a year. Now, this is the folks that are in our group, so you all probably, if you follow this thing, you'd probably owe the city some money. It has been mentioned that the compensation for the council is increased. You may get some good folks to run for office. Well, what I found out about Hopkinsville is there are a lot of good folks here that want to improve the community, make it better for everyone, that may have a vision and love our community will serve. Because it's not about the money, it's about the service. The power of the vote. When folks show you who they are, believe them. I think Maya Angelou, that's her quote. And that is so true. We, the people of this city, have the power to vote. If you want change, folks, you gotta vote. If you're not hearing from your council person, they don't return your phone calls, text messages, or whatever, vote them out. Vote. If your city council person is not working for you, vote them out. Don't let fear or intimidation keep you from voting. And I just want to message to my high school seniors who may be tuned in. If you will be 18 by the November election, you can register to vote and participate in the primary and the general election. But our power is our vote. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
My name is Terry Mathis. I'm from the county, but I'm here to represent my family, my daughter, and my friends that live within the city. I worked for the city of Hopkinsville for 20 years. And it was taught in me, told me every time that we work for the citizens of Hopkinsville. And I believe each and every one of y'all do too. And us and me as an employee that I worked there, if we'd have got a 58% raise, we'd have probably been dancing in the street. But we would sit there and, we'd listen to the budget, and we might get a 1%, 2%, 3% raise. If you're lucky enough, you got 4. Then come November, here come your insurance. Your insurance rates went up. So there went your raise. And so I just think that a 58% raise is extremely high. And I would recommend, we used to have a pay scale, and I'm sure we still do, that you had steps that you had to meet to move up, and they were in 5-year increments. If I was there and I had moved up 3 steps in that same step, they hired somebody, he started the same pay as I did. Is that fair? No, it's not. But I put in 20 years of it, and I listened to everybody complain and that, first one thing to another. And it's one thing that will destroy a city employee is this right here, 58% raise. If it gets passed and they don't get anything, probably a 1% in July, then that's the reason you're going to start losing employees. And when you start losing employees, then some of y'all are going to have to get out and drive the trucks in the snow and ice. And I got great friends that worked there when I retired, and I still got great friends that work there. And nobody, and I know y'all are council members, your phone rings nonstop. I know it does. It has to, with complaining here and there and whatever. And you're no miracle worker. There's only one miracle worker that I know, and he's up there. And he can't solve it. He will solve it all, but you can't solve it all. But a 58% raise is kind of extreme, I believe. If you broke it down into years, over years, spread it out over years, you would be beneficial. I don't think there would be as much feedback as it is now. But, it took me 20 years to make quite a bit because because of the step increases, you had to work to thrive for them. It wasn't handed to you. Just like this pay raise shouldn't be handed to y'all. And, and that's just my expression, the way I feel. And like I said, I'm from the county, but I'm representing everybody else. And, it's not only this. One up here spoke a while ago. She works for the state. Okay, what's the state going to do to the school bus drivers, the teachers, and all of that? There's not enough voice being spoke. People are afraid to speak their voices because they're afraid they're going to get reprimanded. or whatever, but you just have to take your chances. And I love my 20 years at the city, but the politics got to me. They just wear you down over time, and you just got to tuck and roll. Thank you for your time.
Floor is open.
Hello, I'm Rosetta Jackson, Ward 9. I stay at 1013 Central Avenue. Wasn't going to say anything because I thought Rose had pretty much hit on everything. Something Miss Bonnie said. When it comes to positions, public servants, me and my sister do a lot, and a lot of people on this city council know us very well, know that we do a lot within this community and don't get a dime. So the pay raise that you guys are all asking for, 57.14%. Let's be honest. We're big on honesty. We're big on transparency. How many of you sitting on this council have actually had conversations with people within your wards about this raise? How many people? Let's see a raise of hands. What?
I can speak on mine. Man, V, what? Oh, I can't answer. Okay, I'm sorry.
This is all public comment.
I'm open.
It's just you, Ms. Jackson, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, have you talked, okay, I think the last election, I had some issues with some people that they said, hey, I talked to 33, I talked to a total of 66% of the people that I spoke with were, in agreement of whatever the vote was. How many people did you talk to? Because I can tell you that 66% of the people that I talked to are for it, but I only talked to 3 people. So let's just be honest with ourselves. Hopkinsville, we love Hopkinsville, and we will jump in the middle of anything to help anybody, regardless of what ward you're in. We're not asking for anything else. So as a public servant, do you guys honestly believe that get a pay increase of 57.14% is what a public servant would do?
Hello. My name is Wafi the God Hotep, and I'm just looking at the mayor's face. I know you're tired of people talking about this pay raise.
No, we got all night.
Oh,
We can see the sun come up, we have to.
but, I mean, I'm not gonna spend too much time on that because, y'all don't need a raise like that. And that's with anybody at any job, they don't have increments like that. My question was the lot next door program, because the brochure itself is confusing. And I would like some answers when I ask these questions. I don't want to just sit up here and talk for 5 minutes, because pretty much y'all already made y'all mind up of what y'all gonna do every time I've ever come to a city council meeting, y'all have already had y'all mind made up, and people just got up here and just talk. But my question is, how long do the lot next door program is supposed to last? How long do it take to acquire the property? Anybody can answer it. I'm looking for answers. I'm not trying to just sit up and talk. How long do it take?
You meet the requirements, it's 12 months.
Okay, if you meet the requirements, it's 12 months. Okay, who said that? Okay, you meet the requirements, it's 12 months. Okay, so if I got a couple of properties, I own rental property, I got a small business owner, and I own rental property. I've been taking care of the lot at 409 Bryan Street since 2022. Should it take 4 years for the land to be signed over? I took care of, I had one lot, it was 642 Cypress Street. I signed that up in 2023. I took care of that property, and somebody paid the taxes on it. But I took care of it for 2 years, but now they pay the taxes on it, but the grass is this high now. So, I mean, I don't understand what's going on. Could anybody answer any questions on that? And I
Come
don't
to
know
the
if
office
I don't know if I received my money back from that either.
Sir, bring all the paperwork and stuff tomorrow. Come to my office and we'll go through
Where-
detail to detail, right upstairs.
Oh, okay. All right. And, like I said, the 409 Bryant Street, should it take 4 years? Should I have heard something in 4 years? You know, they turned the comments off when they was ever talking about y'all raise. So many people online disapprove of the raise. But anyway, back to
You'll bring your complaints and paperwork with you tomorrow to Mr. Body's office in the morning. We'll be glad to sit down and talk to you about that, sir.
but should it, if it says the land bank, it says 7 days for the local media advertising, 14 days for submission of bid, to put it up for bid. It's been 4 years. So shouldn't y'all have a time limit on how long it take? If somebody's taking care of the lot for 36 months and it's still sitting on somebody's desk, I mean, what good is it doing?
We'll discuss this upstairs, because also if those lots fall back out of compliance, the process starts over. So bring everything you got and we'll sit upstairs and go through this.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Mark Graham. I live at 3500 Bahama Drive here in Hopkinsville. First, I want to start off by wishing Brittany a happy 29th birthday. What a way to spend your birthday. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight regarding this proposed 57.14% pay raise. Let me begin by saying I respect public service. I respect every one of you for doing everything that you do. Serving on the Hopkinsville City Council takes time, energy, and commitment. I don't question that. Everybody knows what's involved. What I do question is whether this time is right and whether this proposal reflects the will of the people that you represent as your constituents. Our community is not in a season of growth and prosperity. Revenues are down. Matter of fact, 2 businesses have just announced their closures in Hopkinsville within the last week. One just announced yesterday. And I can even go as far as to say, Mr. Bell, I'm not sure why he closed his business, but business is slow. A lot of places. I'm not sure. So there's 3 really good businesses. One was open for 5 years. The other was open for over 10. Business is slow. The economy is slow. The Ascend Elements project, that was supposed to be big money coming in for payroll taxes, property tax. Where's it at? Stalled out. Is it going to start back up? Anybody's crazy to think it is. Absolutely crazy to think it is, because it's not. None of this is solely the fault of this city council, but it is the reality of the citizens living in it that this pay raise is. At the same time, this body is considering a 57% pay raise. The city departments are being asked to cut their operating budgets 2 to 5%. I may be wrong on that percentage, but I do know that they have been requested to start looking at budget cuts within their budgets, their department budgets. Got chief here, chief somewhere else in here. They can tell you if that's true or not. Ask them if they've been asked to start looking at their budgets as far as cuts. You don't have to take my word for it. So the question becomes, why such a dramatic increase and why now? An exceptionally substantial portion of this community does not support this raise. This is not a speculation, as it is evident in the conversations happening around this community. People are talking about it in their small businesses that they own with their customers. They're talking about it at school events, sporting events. They're talking about it at their dinner tables with their spouses and their kids. And they're definitely talking about it online. It's everywhere online. The sentiment seems clear. This feels out of step with the economic reality most citizens are facing today. This is not a modest adjustment to keep up with inflation. You all have gotten raises for the last 3 years in a row. Your COLA increase, you've received those. So your raise went up 3 years ago. The raise you got this year went on top of that. Your COLA raises, correct? We all got those. City council got
Yes.
those, correct? Thank you. Sumner, you don't know? Well, you should know what your past council's got as far as raises. You want the money now, though. It would be unrealistic to pretend this vote will not influence how citizens cast their ballots. Trust and perception matters. Leadership is not just what you have the authority to do. It is about what builds confidence and credibility with the people you serve, your constituents. When families are adjusting their household budgets, when business owners are fighting to stay open, when city departments are being asked to cut their budgets by 2 to 5%, when council members have already received their COLA increases for the last 3 years, approving a 57.14% raise now risks appearing disconnected from the community's reality. When Hopkinsville is thriving, when revenues are strong, when businesses are opening, when growth projects are moving forward, then that would be a vastly different conversation you could have asking for a pay raise. But tonight, the decision is about timing, priorities, and public trust.
You're done, Mark.
I respectfully ask you to vote no.
Anyone else like to come speak at the podium?
Evening, everyone. I actually didn't come to speak on behalf of this raised issue. I actually came to speak about something else, but Mr. Graham has led me in that direction. But hearing everybody speak about this raise, I just want to put y'all in a predicament real quick. The things we do, the roles and responsibilities of a councilman, there's no different than being a coach. What I do it for not the money. I do it because I love it. And I promise you, I've employed more unemployed people, homeless people in this town than probably anybody sitting up there. You don't see it because I don't advertise it. But I employ homeless people. I offer places to sleep, especially when the weather got cold. I give that up. I don't make a dime for that. I just do it because I love it. Now, when you say a raise, for me to go to my superintendent or the principal and say, hey, I need a 50% raise, she's gonna look at me and say, why? I'm gonna explain to her. Because all my 10 coaches, we take these players home every day after practice because the parents don't pick them up. If I'm gonna ask for that raise, I'm gonna lay down why they're expecting this raise, why they want that money. Now, do you guys deserve it? You may not. I don't follow politics. I'm just hearing these people talk. I work in the business I do security systems. We get a raise every year. It's based off of performance. If you're doing what you need to be doing, then yes, you deserve that raise. But if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing for that ward, don't raise your hand for it. Because no, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, yes, you deserve it. And then when you do deserve it at that rate, explain to the people why you're asking for that. Because if I, again, go back, if I tell the principal I need 50%, we only won one game, then I need to come down, 50% of that because now we need equipment. Now we need this. That comes out of that budget. So what are you guys doing with that extra money? Because it ain't, if you're not up there for love this community, then you're up there for the wrong thing. Because I would do your job for free. I would. I would coach for free. It's not about the money. I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be retired out of the military and the business I'm doing now with the security system. I make decent money. So it ain't about the money. That's not why I coach. But hearing everybody talk behind me, before you make that vote tonight, just consider what you're doing, because you are a coach in that ward. If you're not developing, that's my job. I got to develop the kids before they get to the high school. If I'm not doing my job, I can't expect more money. So if you're not doing your job, don't expect more money.
Floor is open for anyone else to speak that would like to speak tonight. No one else? All righty, we're going to move into item 7 in mayor's comments. We went to Frankfurt on Thursday. We went up and seen our representatives and senators here with the city and the chamber and the county. We all went up and had a good turnout and asking for projects, and hopefully we'll get some of them coming through on roads and on the Commerce Park 2 issue and on the golf course, because they were on our list too to ask for on that. So we hope we get a lot out of that. We had a great time at the Compass Awards the other night. Enjoyed that. Thank you everyone for coming and that were there. Men to Be fashion show was last Saturday, and we had a good time there. A lot of young men, 60, 65 of them got up, showed a great interest in it. Very proud of them young men. They really stood up and shined out for us on that. All righty. We also have the 4th annual Pioneers Fish Fry on 3/6 from 4 to 7, and it's raised money for their scholarship program. So if you're looking for a good fish dinner on March the 6th, please come by and see them 4 to 7 o'clock on that evening on that. We will move into reports from officers and committees and guest speakers. The annual audit, Ms. Kelly Webb.
Well, I know I'm up here. Oops. I'm so sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. Just wanted to get it. All righty, hi there. Sorry about that. My name is Kelly Webb. I'm a CPA and partner at York Neal and Associates. I was the engagement partner on the annual audit of the financial statements for the city for the fiscal year end 6/30/2025. In front of you, you should have the audit report. This is the annual comprehensive financial report, also known as the ACFR. This is like a regular audit report, but it's got a lot more information in it as well. It's a special report that's submitted to the GFOA every year and in hopes of getting the Certificate of Excellence Award. The city did receive this award for last year's audit, and they received it a total of 30 times. So how the report is broken up, I have listed on here. There's an introductory section. That's a letter from Melissa Clayton that explains some of the things that happened, and then some introductory stuff for about the city. Then there's the financial section, and that's the majority of this audit report. It's the independent auditor's report, management's discussion and analysis, and the basic financial statements. Then there's other sections of the report that we'll get to later. So the part you're most interested in, if you flip through to the report, you get past the introductory section, you get to the independent auditor's report. This is on page 11. If you're following along in the report, I have a snapshot here. The first section is our opinions, and in the first paragraph, it just says what we were auditing. The second section is the opinion. And in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, the aggregate discretely presented component units, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the City of Hopkinsville as of June 30th, 2025, and the respective changes in financial position and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. So that is your unmodified or clean opinion. Excuse me. So that's what you want to hear. The rest of the report, or the rest of the independent auditor's report, has the basis for our opinions, what the responsibility of management is, what auditor's responsibility is, and then addresses a couple more sections of the report. After the independent auditor's report is the management's discussion and analysis. This is page 15 to 27. This condenses a lot of the information that's in this report. This is a really big report. So this is a great summary of what all's in the report and does it in a more easy to understand format. So if nothing else, I would encourage you to read pages 15 through 27. And the financial statements start on page 28. I'll have some condensed information to look at, but if you want to look at the actual financial statements, that starts on page 28. A city government has two types of financial statements. There's the government-wide financials. This is on the accrual basis of accounting. So it looks at it overall. It's all assets, all liabilities, kind of like a business would financials, although they look different, but that's the best equivalent. It consists of a statement of net position and a statement of activities. Then you have the fund financials. That's on the modified accrual basis of accounting. It includes a little bit of assets and liabilities, just the current portions. This is going to be more similar to what you're used to looking at as fund financial statements. It's made up of governmental funds. The majority of your funds are governmental. There's one proprietary fund and one fiduciary fund. These fund financial statements have a balance sheet and a statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. So we'll start with the government-wide financial statements. The first one is the statement of net position. Again, it's on page 28 if you want to see the details. As you'll see here, lists assets first. Some of the larger assets is your cash and investments. The unrestricted cash and investments is about $31 million. In your restricted assets, there's also some restricted cash and investments in there that totals about $8 million. That is for the expendable trust and the non-expendable trust. Also in your restricted assets is due from component units of about $31 million. This is how much of your debt that the component units are responsible for, what they're supposed to be paying whenever debt is issued for on the city's financials, even though they're not the ones paying for it. So receivable to offset how much of your debt is going to be paid by the component units. Your largest assets are capital assets, net of depreciation of $62 million. Then you have deferred outflows of resources. That's more of a timing accrual that's related to your pension and OPEB liabilities. The next page, page 29, lists all your liabilities. As you can see, the largest portion of your liabilities are bonds, notes, and leases of $59 million. That's all of your debt, including the component unit debt. Your next biggest one is net pension liabilities. And I know you're all aware of the big liability for that. That's $48 million. And then we have deferred inflows of resources. Again, that's another timing accrual related to the pension and the OPEB. The bottom of page 29 is your net position. That is after all your assets minus all your liabilities, what you have left over. Sort of like on a business financial statement, you think of it as equity or capital. So what you're left with when it's all done is on the government-wide financials, it's $5 million. This is an increase of $9.6 million from the year before. So you had a little bit of a deficit last year, and now you've been made positive. The next financial is page 30. This is the statement of activities. If you're looking at the actual report, it's going to look kind of crazy. So I have it condensed into a more user-friendly way to look at it on the slide. So statement of activities is a government-specific financial statement that wants to see how your program revenues compare to your program expenses. And these are revenues that are tied directly to a program. So your program revenues were about $18.5 million, but your program expenses, which is all of your expenses, is $51 million. So that's a program net of $32 million more in expenses than revenues. But that's expected for a city government. And that's why you have general revenues, all their property taxes and payroll taxes and all these other revenues to make up for that. So after taking into consideration all the general revenues of $42 million, you have a positive in the change in net position, or if you were looking at this as a business, your net income, positive of $9.6 million. Then it just reflects how your that 9.6 impacted your net position. So your beginning net position was a deficit. There was a change in accounting principle, and then we changed, you got an ending net position of the $5 million we previously talked about. The change in accounting principle, that is a GASB new standard that came out, and all governmental entities were required to reevaluate their compensated absences and how that's accrued. So that's why that is in there. That's not something that was done wrong. That's the adoption of a new principle. Now we're going to switch over to the fund financial statements, which should be more similar to the numbers you've been seeing. These are the modified accrual basis again, so it's just current assets and current liabilities are taken into consideration. Your assets, cash and investments for restricted and unrestricted is about $38 million. That's actually the same as what the others were when it was just broken up into unrestricted and restricted. So your major assets are $42.9 million minus liabilities, minus the deferred inflows that are related to leases. You get a fund balance of around $40 million. And a little over half of that is restricted, committed, or assigned, so it has a purpose in some way. The rest of it is unassigned at this moment. Then the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. That's a long title, but that's essentially a profit and loss statement if you were looking at this from a business standpoint. You have revenues, all your revenues, taxes and licenses, intergovernmental and other revenues, about $60.8 million. Then all of your expenditures, including debt payments that you make and capital purchases during the year, is $67 million. That makes expenditures more than revenues by $6.5 million. However, right below that is other financing sources and uses. The other financing sources, you get another $11 million. This is a classification thing. This is where your bond proceeds, your debt proceeds are at, but the related expenditures was up above that. So when you take all of that into consideration, your overall net change in fund balances or your net income is $4.7 million. That increases your beginning fund balance, and again, we're at the $40 million. I sped right through that. That is a lot of financials and a lot of numbers all at once. So in addition to that, there are some more. I'm not going to go through everything that's in there, but there are reconciliations that take you from the one basis of accounting to the other basis of accounting. That is on page 32 and 34. There's the proprietary fund financial statements. That's just your internal service fund for employee health insurance. That begins on page 35. There's the fiduciary fund financial statements. This is the police and firefighters pension fund, the separate pension fund for those that are still on that. That starts on page 38. And the component units financial statements are also in here. It's broken down between HWEA, solid waste, and stormwater, beginning on page 40. The rest of the basic financial statements is the notes to the financial statements. I've kind of written down some that might be more interesting or you might want to look at closer. Long-term obligations is probably a popular one with how much debt you have. There's more detail on what makes all that up. That is note 5. It starts on page 70. And pensions, again, pensions and OPEB are big, notes 7 and 8, and that starts on page 87. The other sections of the report, once you get through the bulk of the report, starting on page 134, is required supplementary information. This is going to be the budgetary comparison schedule for the general fund. That's where pension schedules are and OPEB schedules are. After that, beginning on page 148, is the combining fund financial statements. This is how we take all the small funds and total them all together to get to the large governmental fund numbers that we went through earlier. And they do that for the special revenue funds and the capital funds. And then there's a few more budgetary comparison schedules. There's a little bit more information on capital assets, beginning on page 157. And beginning on page 160 is got 19 tables of various financial and non-financial information. This is sort of what makes the ACFR special. It has a lot of other things than what you would find in a normal financial report. And finally, the last section is the single audit section. That begins on page 183. And it is a 2-page report, but I condensed it onto this one. A single audit is required anytime you spend more than $750,000 in federal funds. As you can see here, he spent $3.8 million in federal expenditures this year, or for 6/30/2025. So we look at those, but then we mainly look at any that qualifies a major fund. And just by looking at the numbers, you can probably guess the major fund was the COVID-19 funds at $2.9 million. That's also the ARPA funds is how you guys might refer to that. So we do some special testing on the major funds, and we get to that in with the next set of reports. Following this, beginning on page 186, is our general report on internal control and compliance. This is just kind of overall. We found no deficiencies in internal control and no instances of non-compliance. Nothing was noted. And then page 188 is specific to the single audit. That is your report on compliance for each major program. So that's the one program we do the special testing on, and on internal control over compliance. And we actually have an opinion on that on page 188, the second paragraph, and it's that the city complied in all material respects with the types of compliance requirements referred to in the report that could have a direct and material effect on its major federal program. So again, that's your clean audit opinion on the single audit. And no deficiencies in internal control over compliance were noted. So that's a lot. Give me questions.
Thank you, Ms. Webb.
All right, that is my contact information if you need it. Also, just want to thank you guys for letting us audit you, and thank Melissa Clayton and Corey and all the finance department for all of their hard work. They do a really great job getting us information and putting up with us. So thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. We call Melissa Clayton to the podium now. Monthly financials.
I'm trying to close it.
Good evening.
Wow. All right.
Very special.
We'll have a good audit report. It was a lot of work, and we're happy it's over for this year. And so now we're getting into budget season. So audit season, budget season. That's my 2 seasons. It's my pleasure to bring you the monthly financial report for January. We'll start off with the interfund transfers. We had 2 of them, both for $7,500. Are you doing that? Went to a sponsorship for the Kentucky Association for Economic Development. The other one went to the Salvation Army for the warming shelters. And I'm doing that. All right, so total interfund transfers for January was $15,000 year to date. Interfunds, 50,416, leaving 49,585 in the interfund account. Let's get into our revenues. Our payroll tax revenue for the month of January, total collections are $12,889,093. And you can see the comparison with January of 25. So we are running at a 4.4% deficit in our payroll tax collections. Our property tax collections through January of 2026 is $5,588,868. So we are running ahead of budget by $140,000. Our insurance premium tax for the month of January, total collections $4,941,075. Last year through January, we had collected $5,286,072. So we're showing a decrease in equivalent premiums for the month of January by 6.5% in insurance. And finally, our business licenses, we are showing a decrease in revenue by 4.5%. You can see the collection amounts there. So 3 of our big four revenue accounts are all showing a decrease through January. So let's talk about our fund balance. We started the year with $317,000 in encumbrances. We've collected $33,063,458, and we have actual expenses of $32,538,234. So we are showing positive revenue over expenses of $843,128. When we compare that to last year, you can see that our year-to-date revenue is down by $1.9 million, but our year-to-date expenses are also down a little bit. So our revenue over expenses right now is $525,224. It's about $700,000 less than last year. A municipal road aid account, we started the year with $353,535 in encumbrances. We've collected $899,878. We have spent $1,349,397. Gives us more expenses than revenue in our MRA fund at $95,984. Our capital fund, we started the year with $967,863. We have done 2 quarterly transfers for a total of $2,030,021. We have spent $2,793,457 for 57 out of capital. So we have positive revenue over expenses of $204,427 in the capital fund right now. Talk a little bit about our departmental expenses. At 7 months through the year, we should be at 58.3%. So admin is at 58.5%, tax department's at 54.2%, information technology is at 62%, and the legislative is at 57.4%. Our public safety, our police department is at 58.7%, ECC is at 60%, the fire department is at 58.8%, EMS is at 60.2%, and fire prevention is at 54.3%. In our public works area, public works admin is at 58%, city maintenance at 53.4%, Fort Campbell contracts at 27.1%, the service centers at 56%, Parks and Rec is at 55.5%, Sportsplex is at 50.3%, and the Aquatic Center is at 64.7% of expenses. Overall, our general fund is running at 55.9%, municipal road aid at 80.3%, and the capital fund is at 61.5% of what's been budgeted. So we'll take a look at our cash fund balance. We started the year at $18,269,128, plus our year-to-date receipts of $33,063,458, minus our year-to-date expenses, gives us our cash fund balance January 31st of $18,794,352, minus our encumbrances, and our available cash is $18,712,772. After we subtract out our 2 equipment reserve accounts, our unassigned cash fund balance is $17,416,185. And that is 37% of our adjusted operating budget. So there's a comparison between this year and last year. And I have added our new graph in there to kind of show you the ebbs and flows of the cash fund balance. Sorry I didn't get that in your packet. Our last slide is our investment The KLC Investment Fund, we had a cash balance on January 31st of $1,236,042, and we have an unrealized market gain of $107,760. So if we would have sold on January 31st, we would have collected $1,343,802. So I think it's doing pretty good.
Great.
I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys might have about the January financials.
Any questions for Ms. Clayton?
I do. Melissa, thank you for everything you do. We really appreciate it. It's a great job. Do you have any thoughts about the deficit in our income in January, causes, effects?
I don't get too concerned about the insurance premium tax being down for 1 month because generally we measure that over quarters. So if it is still down, February, March, maybe the insurance companies didn't send in they don't really have a due date, so they have the whole quarter to get the payments in. So as long as the quarter matches up, we were running right about the same in December for insurance premium tax. So I'm not as concerned about that. As far as the payroll tax decrease that we're showing for the year, we have done quite a bit of research on that. I will tell you that the number of people submitting payroll is the same. We're collecting payroll from about 3,000 businesses. We about the same number last year, so it's not that businesses are closing. The biggest difference we found in the payroll tax is the amount of construction payroll that we're collecting. We are not collecting the amount of construction payroll we were collecting this time last year. There were 3 really big construction companies in town, and they were submitting regular payments, and we're no longer collecting from them. So that's about $800,000 of the deficit that we're showing in payroll tax.
I see. So is it possible that the weather of January may have affected that in the fact that maybe a week or 2 people just weren't working?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say because generally for payroll tax, the December payroll is reported in January.
Right.
So it's generally higher because people get bonuses in
Okay.
December.
Sure.
I expect February to be less. I'll just tell you, I do expect it to have affected our payroll when we collect January's payroll in February.
Well,
But it's not due till the 25th, so it really hasn't started rolling in yet. So I don't have any numbers.
I thought that might be off by a month, but I didn't know. And of course, we're sorry for the contractors that, that lost from last year. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Clayton.
Thank y'all.
All righty, item 9, approval of minutes, February the 3rd, 2026 regular meeting.
So moved.
Got a motion, second by Clayton. Any discussion? All those say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving right along. February 7th, 2026 special call meeting on special call meeting.
Motion.
Second. All righty. Any discussion? Right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving right along. Into the ordinances. Ordinance 02-2026 Blane Drive and Noel Avenue always stop, second reading.
Establish always stop signs at the intersection of Blane Drive and Noel Avenue. Whereas the Public Works Department recommends establishing always stop signs at the intersection of Blane Drive and Noel Avenue. And whereas on January 22nd, 2026, the Committee of the Whole forwarded an ordinance to City Council authorizing such establishment. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, pursuant to KRS 189.337 and Section 70.03 of the Hopkinsville Code of Ordinances, Hopkinsville City Council hereby authorizes the installation of always stop signs at the intersection of Blane Drive and Noel Avenue. Section 2, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is held unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Section 3, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect after its passage and publication according to law and upon posting of the appropriate signage by the Public Works Department.
All righty. Need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Don, second by Amy. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stallings,
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Yes.
Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Sumner, Councilmember Meek, Councilmember Bogard,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell,
Yes.
Councilmember Drought,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
That passes on second reading.
Okay, ordinance 03-2026, West Edmunds Street, one-way, second reading.
Establish one-way traffic on West Edmunds Street, whereas the Public Works Department recommended establishing one-way traffic on West Edmunds Street, and whereas on January 22nd, 2026, the Committee of the Whole forwarded an ordinance to City Council authorizing such establishment. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, pursuant to KRS 189.337, Hopkinsville City Council hereby establishes one-way traffic on West Edmunds Street traveling from South Main to West 19th Street, heading towards Canton Pike Highway 272. Hopkinsville City Council further directs the Public Works Department to erect appropriate signage in compliance with the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices for Streets and Highways, 11th edition, informing motorists of the one-way traffic designation. Section 2, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is held unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Section 3, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect after its passage and publication according to law and upon posting the appropriate signage by the Public Works Department.
Need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second by Brittany. All righty, any discussion? All righty, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stallings,
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Yes.
Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Sumner, Councilmember Meek, Councilmember Bogard,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell,
Yes.
Councilmember Drought,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
That passes on second reading.
All righty. Ordinance 04-2026, FY 25-26 capital budget amendment, second reading.
Amending the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky annual capital equipment and property replacement budget for fiscal year July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026 by estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, that Section 1 of Ordinance 22, 2025, amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 capital equipment and property replacement budget is hereby amended as follows. Revenue transfer from general fund, $2,310,771. Transfer from general fund wins, additional insurance premium, $390,737. Transfer from ARPA fund, $440,000. Transfer from grant matching fund, $95,000. Capital equipment replacement fund, $390,000. Total capital revenues, $3,626,508. Expenses, administration, $50,000. Information technology, $190,000. Police department, $575,541, fire department, $350,000, city maintenance, $360,000, Fort Campbell contracts, $22,000, parks and recreation, $70,000, buildings and properties, $1,050,000, transferred MRA, $583,967, transfer to trust, $375,000, total capital expenses, $3,626,508, surplus deficit, 0. Section 2, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is held for any reason unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Section 3, any and all existing ordinances inconsistent with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect after its passage and publication according to law.
Okay, need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Brittany, call the roll.
Councilmember Stallings,
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Yes.
Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Sumner, Councilmember Meek, Councilmember Bogard,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell,
Yes.
Councilmember Drought,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
That passes on second reading.
Okay. Item D, ordinance 05-2026, chapter 30.02, classification and compensation plan amendment, second reading.
Brittany, before you get into this, I have something here. So I just want to say that the biggest.
What do you got there?
What's that?
What you got there?
Okay.
No.
What? talk?
No, you can talk. I just asked what it was.
Okay, all right. So I'm just saying the biggest complaint and heartburn that I've heard about these pay increases is the number, that 57%. What I've heard is the optics of that increase is horrible. And my response every time I talk to somebody is I actually agree. It is a bad look. Some of us have pulled together and we've kind of come up with a compromise to ease this over time. So I'll make the motion to amend what we're about to go over. And we spread this increase evenly over a 3-year period, starting January 1st, 2027. The pay for 3 years for members of city council will be 2027, the pay $17,163.17. 2028, $19,581.58. And 2029, it gets to that full number, that $22,000.
So that's a motion to amend. We would need a second on that motion. And then if that passes, then there would need to be a second reading. The first reading would be on a different ordinance.
So we have an amendment right here from Travis. We need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a second from Amy. And then we're going to call the vote here then. Or any discussion about this, the way they broke it down on 3 payments, or 3 years, excuse me.
Can I make an amendment, a motion on this, or do we have to vote first?
There can be a motion to amend again.
I would like to make a motion to amend. I've had some people call me and say, Chuck, we put you on there to be the voice of common sense and reason. And older than me, much wiser than me, I think for the betterment of the community, that we take a 3% pay increase and be done with it. That's the best thing we can do. I truly respect some of the other council members' opinions and how they got there. Although I disagree with them, I respect their opinions. But I think for the betterment of the community, the best thing we can do, take the 3% and let's move on. If not, you're going to deal with it in 10. So take your 3%, that's my motion.
Got a motion from Chuck that we take a 3%.
Let me just
Hold on.
procedurally, since that motion does not relate directly to the motion to amend, once this is voted up or down, then I think it would be appropriate to make that motion. Does that make sense?
I tried.
Okay.
I'll hold it in reserve till you tell me it's okay.
All right.
So I think now more discussion on the motion to amend and then the vote on the motion to amend.
All right, we're back to the discussion on motion to amend that Travis did. Is it in 3 steps, Travis, correct? Okay.
And Amy seconded.
Amy did second it. Any more discussion?
I do. So you did the motion to extend it, but what, to get it more, so that we don't have to have a whole separate, what if we dropped the amount to a more amenable amount so that it wouldn't be such a huge increase over 3 years? Because then you still get that time, but you're meeting what he's saying without, just a thought.
Any more discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Stallings,
To clarify, we are voting on the amendment to extend it over 3 years?
Yes, on Travis's for 3 years and amount of money.
And for clarification, if this passes, then the ordinance will be read as amended, and then you vote on the ordinance as amended. This is just on the amendment.
Yes, you can. I promise you, we're doing it right, people.
All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Okay.
Councilmember Stallings,
Yes on the amendment.
did you, yes? Okay. Councilmember Marsh,
No.
Councilmember Crabtree,
No.
Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Sumner, Councilmember Meek? Councilmember Bogard?
No.
Councilmember Velez?
No.
Councilmember Bell?
No.
Councilmember Drought?
No.
Councilmember Smith?
No.
The motion to amend fails.
So now we're back to the original
Right.
ordinance.
We're back to the original ordinance. All righty.
Attorney Willing, may I?
Chuck, now we're up to you now.
So I would
Hey,
like,
folks.
I would like to make a motion that the council take a 3% one-time pay increase. That's my motion. 3%,
Did you say one time?
one time.
One time, okay.
All right, we got a motion for a one time. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have that from Ms. Stallings. Any discussion?
Yes, I would like to discuss it. I'd like to discuss it in light of Chuck's amendment. I think Chuck's amendment is more reasonable. And I would just like to see if we could add to that. It may need an amendment to this motion, but we would make sure that whatever pay increase the council gets never goes above what the real workers in Hopkinsville get. That is, whatever the cost of living adjustment is for public works, safety, security, all those other departments would not go above that.
Okay, that's, Don made a. Any second on that?
Chuck said it's one time. If the Public Works Department, excuse me, I now still speak. Thank you. If the Public Works Department doesn't give but 2.5%, then that raise for the city council would only be 2.5%.
Now, Melissa, tell me if I'm wrong with this, it's 2.7, what we're going to be getting anyway?
Yeah, so the second part of this ordinance says that city council gets the CPI that is recommended each year by the Department of Local Government. So every year council gets whatever the consumer, I think it's, this year it's 2.7.
Right. A second for Don Marsh's amendment. Yep, that motion does fail.
Back to the 3% increase, Chuck's motion.
Yeah, we're back to Chuck's 2%.
I have a question for clarification. So if Chuck is talking about a 3% increase, and then we still have this other ordinance in our packet, are we still going to read this ordinance, or would the 3% trump this ordinance? Do you see what I'm saying? How does that work?
This is a motion to amend the ordinance that's before you.
before us,
So
okay.
if this motion to amend passes, then we would read the ordinance as amended,
With the
and you would vote.
3%.
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted some clarification.
And just for clarification on Mr. Marsh's amendment that failed, what I understood from Melissa is that that's already essentially in our ordinance. We get what everybody else gets, not more than what everybody else gets for in the future.
Correct.
Okay, because that's how I was taking it, so I just wanted to make sure I was clear on
Right.
that. Okay.
We would all be getting, just like my raise would be 2.7, your raise would be 2.7, and so on. And that's all it would be.
Except this amendment would say we would actually be getting 3%, not 2.7.
Correct.
Just to be clear.
Correct. Okay, we got a motion and a second on Chuck's. Any more discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Stallings?
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh?
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree?
Yes.
Councilmember Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Sumner? Councilmember Meek? Councilmember Bogard?
Yes.
Councilmember Velez?
Yes.
Councilmember Bell?
Yes.
Councilmember Drought?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
And that motion to amend passes.
Okay.
Good. Question, Mr. Mayor. Real quick question. Now, would that now be counted as a first reading or a second reading?
This will be a first reading.
That's a first
That's
reading.
first
okay.
reading, yes,
I
sir.
got you. Okay,
The
thank you.
second reading will be done again in March. Yep. Yes. We need to take a recess just a minute so we can get the legal side of this straight, and then we'll come right back in. All those in favor of taking a recess, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passed. We'll recess for 5 minutes. This meeting out of recess to order. Miss Brittany, are you in good shape now? You got it where you want it? Okay. We will, ordinance 05-2026, chapter 30.02, classification and compensation plan amendment.
An ordinance amending a certain section of Chapter 30 of the Hopkinsville Code of Ordinances pertaining to the Employee Classification and Compensation Plan, whereas on January 22nd, 2026, the Committee of the Whole forwarded proposed changes to Section 30.02A1, Classification and Compensation pertaining to elected city officials. Now therefore, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, that Section 30.02A1 of the Hopkinsville Code of Ordinances is hereby amended as follows. Section 30.02, Classification and Compensation. The Classification and Compensation Plan is adopted as set forth herein in accordance with KRS 83A.070. A, elected city officers. 1, the salaries of the following city officers are fixed at the amount set opposite each office. Officers, members of the City Council, salaries $15,628.88 per annum for calendar year 2027. Mayor, $95,335.76 per annum for fiscal year 25-26. Section 2, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is held unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Section 3, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect January 1st, 2027, after its passage and publication according to law.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Chuck and Mr. Marsh. Any discussion?
I would like to say, Mr. Mayor, I wish that we would have kept the raise in line with the other departments of the city. Although I thank Mr. Crabtree for having the foresight to go ahead and make that motion after having had so many comments from my, even my ward of the great representatives we've had, even from my ward, some of them still living, some of them not, who were as high a caliber a candidate as you could find anywhere, yet served because they honored the service itself. Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Stallings?
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh?
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree?
Yes.
Councilmember Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Sumner? Councilmember Meek? Councilmember Bogard?
Yes.
Councilmember Velez?
Yes.
Councilmember Bell?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerald?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
That passes on first reading.
All righty. Second reading will be in first week of March. All righty. Item 11, executive orders. Executive Order 11-2026, Council Board appointment.
Effective immediately, city council members shall be reappointed to the following: Hopkinsville Christian County Ambulance Service Board, Michael Velez; Christian County Senior Center Board, Brandy Stallings; Hopkinsville Christian County Public Library Board, Brittany Bogard; Retired Senior Volunteer Program Council, Donald Marsh; Tax Increment Finance Development Authority, Seth Meek; Westwood Senior Home Board, Brandy Stallings. These terms shall expire on December 31st, 2026. Effective immediately, city council members shall be appointed to the following: Hopkinsville Christian County ECC Board, Michael Velez; Human Rights Commission, Travis Martin; Long Range Planning and Coordination Committee, Vance Smith; Penny Route RC&D Council, Elizabeth Stroud. These terms shall expire on December 31st, 2026, and no action is necessary.
Okay. Executive Order 12-2026, Southwestern Kentucky Economic Development Council.
Effective immediately, City Council Member Clayton Sumner shall be appointed to the Southwestern Kentucky Economic Development Council. This term shall expire on December 31st, 2026, and no action is necessary.
Okay. Executive Order 13-2026, Hopkinsville Electric System.
Effective immediately, City Councilmember Amy Craig shall be reappointed to the Hopkinsville Electric System Board. This term shall expire December 31st, 2026. And we do need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
And Travis and Chuck. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Righty, moving right along. Executive Order 14-2026, Surface and Stormwater Utility.
Effective immediately, City Council Member Chuck Crabtree shall be appointed to the Hopkinsville Surface and Stormwater Utility Board. This term shall expire on December 31st, 2026. And we do need a motion and a second.
All right, need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Mike, all righty, any discussion? All righty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Chuck abstains. All righty.
Nah.
Executive Order 15-2026, Hopkinsville Water Environment Authority.
Effective immediately, City Council Member Jason Bell shall be reappointed to the Hopkinsville Water Environment Authority. This term shall expire December 31st, 2026. And we do need a motion and a second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Executive Order 16-2026, Hopkinsville Solid Waste Enterprise Board.
Effective immediately, City Council Member Chuck Crabtree shall be reappointed to the Hopkinsville Solid Waste Enterprise Board. This term shall expire December 31st, 2026. And we need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
A motion and second by Amy. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm going to abstain again.
Okay. I can understand that. Oh, me. Executive Order 17-2026, Pennyroyal Arts Museum Board.
Effective immediately, City Council Member Elizabeth Drought shall be reappointed to the Pennyroyal Area Museum Board of Directors. This term shall expire December 31st, 2026, and no action is necessary.
Okay, Executive Order 18-2026, Code of Ordinance Enforcement Board.
Effective March 1st, 2026, Crystal Kirkman shall be appointed to the Code of Ordinance Enforcement Board. This term shall expire February 28th, 2029. And we need a motion and a second.
Second.
Okay, I got to come, I got
Everywhere.
Ms. Stallings, and we're going to take Brittany here. All right, any more discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Executive Order 19-2026, Hopkinsville Housing Task Force. We redone that again this afternoon, laid it in front of you because we had some changes on that.
In order creating the Hopkinsville Housing Task Force and directing the City of Hopkinsville's authorized staff to assist the task force in accomplishing its duties and responsibilities. Whereas the city seeks to enlarge Hopkinsville's portfolio of affordable income-aligned housing while protecting the unique character of historic neighborhoods. And whereas the revitalization of vacant lots and abandoned homes will result in reduction of code enforcement requests, crime, and increased property value. And whereas the Bowen National Research Housing Needs Assessment suggests the city of Hopkinsville itself needs an additional 3,136 units of housing by 2030 due to its current growth. And whereas it is prudent to establish a Hopkinsville Housing Task Force composed of city officials and community leaders to guide the city of Hopkinsville in implementing housing development strategies. And whereas the Hopkinsville Housing Task Force have no legislative or executive authority and will only make recommendations to the Hopkinsville mayor and city council. Now, therefore, the mayor hereby establishes the Hopkinsville Housing Task Force. One, the task force shall consist of 11 members appointed by the mayor, Travis Martin, Hopkinsville City Council, Donald Marsh, Hopkinsville City Council, Philip Brooks, educator and former Hopkinsville City Council member, Jason Vincent, Pennyroyal Area Development District, Melissa Spur, Hopkinsville Water Environment Authority, Jeff Hurd, Hopkinsville Electric System, Alan Gates, Pennyroyal Electric, Laura Faulkner, Hopkinsville Housing Authority, Carter Hendricks, Southwestern Kentucky Economic Development Council, Yvette Sellers, Planners Bank, Christy Madian Neighborhood Association. 2, to provide essential guidance and administrative assistance, the following city staff and city agency members shall staff the task force. A, Community and Development Services Executive Director, serving as a senior advisor, will provide planning, expertise, insights, and current housing strategies and historical background. B, Land Bank Chair, serving as a special advisor. C, Land Bank Coordinator, serving as a special advisor. D, Policy Analyst, will offer insights on the current housing strategy efforts and assist with research. E, other staff will be utilized throughout, including but not limited to city attorneys, city finance directors, city public information officer, public works director, and others as needed. 3, the task force duties and responsibilities include but are not limited to the following: A, review applicable zoning and developmental hurdles. B, utilizing a consultant engaged with Hopkinsville developers and other relevant stakeholders to review and incorporate their perspectives. C, review municipal order 2017 housing incentive policy and recommend changes. D, discuss the execution of other relative housing recommendations set forth in the housing needs assessment. E, the task force will submit any and all recommendations to the mayor and city council within 12 months of the effective date of this executive order. 4, city staff are directed to assist the task force in performing its duties and responsibilities by providing information and/or materials requested by the city administrator or other relevant staff. 5, the task force shall meet regularly but no less than once per quarter over the 2026 calendar year. 6, the task force may be reconvened during the effective dates of this order to update or expand the reports of its findings. 7, this order shall be in effect from February 17th, 2026 until February 17th, 2028. There's no action necessary.
I do have a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, I noticed you've got a lot of different people on there. I didn't see any representation from the builders. And I don't know if we've got a builders association or anything like that here.
Yes, we do. And we do.
And I'm just asking the question because I don't know, would it make sense to have somebody there? Because we've got people that power it, water it, do the other things, but I didn't see somebody that actually builds them.
We can,
That's just.
we can go to the association and ask them who they'd like to sit
It's just an
on that side.
observation, and if
Yeah.
y'all think it's right, go for it. If not,
Yeah.
leave it like it is.
Okay, I'll take that.
I might ask, Mr. Mayor, I think it's a good suggestion. Is it possible to put a point in here that might say, or other members as the mayor might see necessary from time to time?
Could do that. Okay. All righty.
That way we wouldn't have to come back and do this again.
Amendment to this? No? All right, not a problem. I will change that verbiage and we'll go from there. Okay? All right. All righty, now we're down to item 12, other. Kind of long night. Okay. Any other business? Any other business? Okay. Council member comments. Item 13.
Just a couple.
Yes, sir.
Thank everybody for coming. Obviously, a lot of you here had a different perspective than I do, and that's fine. I appreciate you coming and speaking and letting us hear. Obviously, I'm standing with the perspective I believe. That's why I still is a no, but it doesn't change the fact that I appreciate hearing from you. And the vote went the way it went, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Learning from some of that, Mayor, I do want to ask, because it was echoed a lot of times, now that that original was changed, are you going to be rescinding your 2% request from your department heads that you sent for them to cut? Are you going to rescind that now because that didn't go that way?
Well, we are going to look at that very closely now with the finance team to make sure we can look at that.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't really think it had anything to do with it to begin with, but it was kind of the message out there. So,
Well, what you look at every month, you'll see the payroll's been down.
yes, sir. Yeah,
Every,
I agree.
she has not stood up here one time this year and told me we were over. And
was
that
just
is
a
something
question.
we got to start putting in perspective. I will take the big three that we did not have is construction. I hope and I really do want to see us do something, but I cannot say yay or nay on that. That was a big chunk of money every month for us on the payroll. So we do need another project moving out there because I'm not holding all my eggs for a cent. I'm expecting Mr. Hendricks and the rest of the Southwestern get to work and find me someone else, because I know they are, because we had conversations about them last week and we've had a few emails this week about it. So with that being said, I am always looking for more income, any way we can do it. So
maybe on rescinding it. Maybe. Okay.
There's a maybe on that. Depends on what the numbers say. And we also had in our retreat.
I was going to just say that.
In our retreat, y'all come up with some good little ways to move things around. You and Melissa and we all talked about it. And me and Melissa's talked about that some already. So.
In hopes to be able to rescind that too.
Right,
That
exactly.
message. Yeah.
So, but no, we are looking how we can move the city forward. I do not want to go backwards. Forward is the way we are moving.
And with that, Also, some interesting things happened during this as well. And I don't see a couple of them that spoke. I guess they've already left. Mr. Jenkins, Mr. Graham, and then Ms. Pittman last week. Two different individuals, one on the Democrat side, one on the Republican side, that came up and spoke against my perspective. But what I quickly realized is even if it's not the perspective I shared, that citizens on both sides, party lines were irrelevant. They came together, they both had the same opinion, and they shared it and echoed it with us, and we ultimately made a decision. But what that also showed me, and then I heard again tonight, maybe nonpartisan's the way.
Yes, sir.
Because tonight we were told again, only four cities in this state, I think, if I understood right. And then I got to witness it. It was almost like an experiment in the process. Wasn't supposed to happen that way. You all made it happen that way. I just observed it and learned from it. So Mayor, I don't know if it's a request to you, if it's a request to the chair, but I'd like to see that put back on the business list because I think the motivation has quickly changed in this community, and I think that's something that might need to be revisited and talked about.
I second that.
Mr. Bell?
No, go ahead. I was second. I thought it was a motion. I was going to second.
Okay, well, we'll get this back on the business list with Travis and them, and we'll see what kind of conversations come of it. We'll get it back on there, and then we'll talk about it from there.
I got you.
Okay? Anything else on councilman comments? Mr. Bell?
I like what Mr. Sumner said. I like thank everybody coming out, giving their opinion or whatever, but I also like to encourage y'all to not only come out on a hot topic, come out all the time and get involved, because I actually only got 5 calls about this topic personally. And I like to thank Miss Bonnie, Mark, and Rose. Was 3 of them they heard, and 2 of them was for it, but they didn't want to. They confidentially supported it because they didn't want to get I can read the text as what they said. They didn't want to get drugged through the mud with it. So I just encourage citizens to get more involved because it takes community to make a community better, not 12 elected officials. So that's just what I take. And about my business, yeah, it was closed, but it wasn't due to, it was different reasons, but also a lot of it was time that I put in dedicated to the city because I love public service. I started my business in 2016 and I ran in 2018. If I would have put that time in my business probably still be open. So it's never been about lining my pockets. So I wanted to put that out there, although I agreed with it's worth, this position definitely worth the $22,000, although y'all might not agree, but just know I put a lot of time in. I've served with PPCL, J.R. Davey. I served with Rose Jackson, them Hopkinsville Community Friends. Me and the B 5 years. When Sumner was chief, I used to set up meetings with citizens that felt they was done wrong. 0 charge. So it's never been about money for me. So I just wanted to put that out there since they tried to say I was lying in my pockets. Thank you.
Well, any more comments? Yes, ma'am.
So now that we've all survived, I just wanted to say now that we have all survived this, it's been a wild couple of weeks, no matter which side you were on. I'm sure no matter which side you were on the pay raise. I just want to say, like, the council that's up here, I've talked to so many of them. I've learned from them. You may not agree with them, but these are good people. I have very much enjoyed getting to know each and every one of them. My perspectives coming in before I worked with them on council, I mean, some of them I didn't have perspectives and some of them it wasn't good, but it's definitely changed. Like, I mean, I just want to thank all of you guys for being so informative at anytime, any of us call you. And I would also like to note that I did not receive any calls on this, but the water park, on the other hand, that is a different subject.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Any more comments? All right. I would like to say a couple things before we go into closed session. Thank you all. I know it's been a rough 2 weeks. Thank you. Y'all took it on the chin. Thank you. Thank you. But also we'll say this. But Travis, please. Thank you, Travis. Please. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all's putting your heart and soul into it, because I do know you get the phone calls, you get stopped at places. I've been stopped in the restaurant, been stopped at the Walmarts, everywhere. Somebody's got an opinion on this, and they all had an opinion on it. They didn't like the 50-something%. But that being said, we've come to a very good compromise this evening at 3%. Thank y'all, council. Okay? Now, water park meeting will be tomorrow night. I wish everyone to be here at 5 o'clock. We're going to have a little meeting, be over in council room. Please come and express your opinions and everything about the water park tomorrow evening, because we're going to be here to listen to you. And we hope you come out and speak about it. 5. I think last I looked, it was 5 this afternoon on my calendar. But with that being said, everybody be here. We'll have to have conversations. We will be over in the counselor's room, because Tom and they'll have a meeting in here tomorrow night on this. Now, I need to go to closed session, KRS 61.8101C. Do I have a motion?
Motion, second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye. All right, we're going to closed session. partaken in the closed session, and now we're in item 15. I will move to Ward 3 for adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In honor of President's Day, I leave you with a few quotes from past presidents. From George Washington, happiness and moral duty are inseparably connected. From Dwight Eisenhower, neither a wise man nor a brave man lies down on the tracks of history to wait for the train of the future to run over him. And finally, from William Jefferson Clinton, there is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured with what is right with America. And with that, I make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion, got a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.